Welcome to my Spanish class. Today we will continue with the indirect object pronouns, and this is a group of verbs that you probably are familiar with, right? Especially if you have at least a couple years in Spanish. These verbs can be interesting and it can be easy for you to mastermind. If you can grasp what I want to say here, it will be even easier. By the way, this is the last time that we are studying indirect object pronouns. Next topic will be something completely different. We will move into hacer to express period of time or to express length of time. But here, going back to this topic, remember what is basic in the indirect object pronoun or the indirect object. Every single time that you have an indirect object pronoun, you may have to refer to the indirect object, especially in third person singular and plural. What I did here in this improvised board is to draw a line here, and this line is not free, it's an important line here. I put here in parentheses, if you can see, I put a me, because you don't need a me, but it just to show you the relationship between me and a me. So this part of the line, right? This part of the line are the indirect objects, either the indirect object and the indirect object pronoun. Then in the other side of the line is verbo gustar in this case, or similar verbs. But in this case, I will be using verbo gustar, that is probably the most popular one. Remember, we translate in English gustar as to like. But formally speaking, it's not to like, it's to be pleased by, right? So this line that is dividing the sentence in two, that's a line that you won't have in a sentence, obviously, right? But here I put the line just to show you that these two things here, right, are related. And these two things here in the other side of the line are related, right? These things here after the verb are pretty much the pronouns or the subjects. They are the acting as subjects, so the conjugation goes according to these things rather to something that is in this side of the line, right? These sides of the line, one more time, are indirect object pronouns, me, te, le, nos, os, les, and here in parentheses, and sometimes not in parentheses because it's mandatory, you have in parentheses the one that you don't need, and then without the parentheses the one that you need, a él, a ella, a usted, a ellos, a ellas, a ustedes, that has the indirect object pronoun les. A él, a ella, and a usted has the indirect object pronoun le. All right, that's very important. I hope that you get the idea through this line, right? These two things are related. So you can make a sentence choosing this person here, right? Go to this conjugation and go to this way, right? A mí, if you want to keep that thing in parentheses, me gusta el helado, right? Now, why gusta el helado? Why the conjugation is in third person singular? Because el helado is acting like a third person pronoun there, or a third person subject that is forcing the conjugation into singular one. Here, if you notice this improvised board, we only have two conjugations. We have third person singular and third person plural, right? But right now, my point is that you can choose any of the indirect object pronouns here, right? I choose me, right? Me gusta el helado, but you can choose le, as long as you make explicit the subject, or in this case the indirect object, right? A ella, remember that we always clarify the indirect object through that a. So a ella, a María, a Magdalena, a Micaela, le gusta México. So you can do something different. A ella le gusta, and you can go through Mexico, right? It's perfect. A ella, you need to clarify the indirect object. Le, why do you need to clarify the indirect object? Remember, because le can call into confusion. So every single time And we learned that last class that you are using the indirect object third person singular or plural, you need to clarify the indirect object. You have to be redundant. That's the way that I approached last class. A ella le gusta México. You don't like a ella, you can put a ustedes. A ustedes les, and you can still go here and go a ustedes les gusta dormir, right? So when the conjugation is singular or third person singular, when you have a verb in infinitive, because we take it as a singular action, when you have a place, or when you have a noun that is singular, right? In those three cases, you have to conjugate the verb gustar or any verb that you are using in this particular case or particular situation as third person singular, right? If you don't like helado, but you like el té, tea, right? You can say, a mí me gusta el té, a mí me gusta el café, a ti te gusta la pizza, a él le gusta la fruta, and so on and so on and so on, right? Now, if you choose the plural conjugation, third person plural, that means that the thing that is acting as a subject, it will be plural. So, let's say a nosotros nos gustan las fresas, right? A nosotros, you don't need that, but if you want to keep it, you can be redundant. A nosotros nos gustan. Why gustan? Because las fresas, strawberries, are plural, right? Las fresas is impacting the conjugation of verbo gustar, as well as dormir is impacting the conjugation of verbo gustar here, and we make it singular with dormir because it's a singular action. Place, make it singular, and a singular object, make it singular. Plural object, make it plural. All right? So, let's say that you choose a different subject. Te gustan las clases de español, right? Te gustan las clases de español, right? A él, right? A él le gustan las series de Netflix or the Hulu or the whatever you want to put there, right? Every single time that you are making something plural here, you will make the plural conjugation third person here, right? Every single time that you have something singular here, including a verb in infinitive or a place, the conjugation will be singular. Now, don't forget a crucial thing here. You cannot, under any circumstances, do double substitution here. If you ask why, because formally speaking, here we do not have a direct object. There is no way to give something to somebody, right? These sentences do not carry direct object, therefore you cannot do double substitution. The only thing that this sentence has is an indirect object that is being pleased by, right? In the case of verbo gustar, or hurts by, right? Whatever verb you are using, that thing is impacting this indirect object here. That's why you cannot do double substitution here. If somebody is asking you to do double substitution here, that person is trying to fool you. Do not fall into that trap. There is no way that you can see these last things that are here. They may be things, but they are not direct objects. So they are acting more like subjects. These are subjects in the sense that they are forcing the conjugation here. So, summarizing this thing. In this side of the board, we have the indirect object pronouns. Remember, what are those? Me, te, le, nos, os, and les. And here I put in parentheses the indirect object that you don't need, but if you want to do it, you can do it. A mí, a ti. You need this one, a él, a ella, a usted. You do not need a nosotros, but you can use it. A vosotros, the same thing. And you are forced to use a ellos, a ellas, a ustedes. All right? 3 examples here. A Tomás, right? Third person to me and to you. Le, third person singular. So, a Tomás le What? Duelen. Why duelen? Doler is to hurts, right? ¿Por qué? Why doler? Or why duelen? Because los pies is plural. So a Tomás le duelen los pies. So what do we have here? We have the indirect object pronoun. That's a Tomás. We have the indirect object pronoun, le. Then we have the verb. And then we have this thing at the end that is acting more like a subject. All right? There is no direct object, therefore there is no double substitution. The second example here is I put in parentheses a mí, because you don't need that, right? But if you want to say it, you can say it. Me, you need that, that's the indirect object pronoun. Hace falta mi esposa. Hace falta means I miss, right? I miss my wife. Me hace falta mi esposa. Why hace falta? Because it's a single, it's just one esposa. I do not have 2 or 3 esposas. I only have one. Therefore, I am missing her. So, mi esposa is acting as a subject here, is forcing me to conjugate the verbo hacer as a third person singular. Hace and falta never change. I can put, if I change the sentence with mis hijos, I can say me hacen falta mis hijos, but falta never change. Falta is always the same. And it's like a compound verb. Hacer falta is one idea, to miss, right? And the last sentence that I put an example here, I put nos, and I put in parentheses, a nosotros nos interesa la política. Why? Interesa is to be interested in politics. Why interesa? Because la política is a single concept. Therefore, the conjugation of the verbo interesar will be singular third person. Other verbs like verbo gustar are enloquecer. The verbo enloquecer means to become crazy. Fascinar, to fascinate. Disgustar, to dislike. Molestar, to bother. Doler, that we have in the example, is to hurt. Hacer falta, that we have in the example, is to miss. Interesar means to be interested in. Importar is what is important for you. Caer bien means easy on the eyes to you, or you are easy on the eyes to him or her. Sentar bien is something that fits you perfectly. Encantar means to enchant. Incomodar, to make somebody uncomfortable. Angustiar, to give anxiety. Asaltar, to assault, right? I hope that with this line here, you can understand my point here, right? Remember, what I draw this line here because I want you to focus in this side of the board are related. A mí and me are related. A ti and te are related. A él and ella, a usted and le are related. A nosotros and nos are related. A vosotros and os are related. A ellos, a ellas, a ustedes and les are related. They are not related with the verbo gustar, or either in the conjugation of gusta or gustan. Not at all. You can choose any indirect objects here and use any of those conjugations because those conjugations are not related with me, neither te, ni le, nos, os, or les. They are related with what is after the conjugation. In this case, gusta dormir, gusta México, gusta el helado, gustan las fresas, gustan las clases, gustan las series de televisión. I hope that this is clear. I hope that you can practice. In your slides, there is an exercise in the last slides, slide number 4, I guess, and you can do that exercise, and I will take it either as a homework or as an extra credit, depending the moment that we have this during the next week. So I hope that you can enjoy this topic. I hope that you can find it attractive and useful. And I hope that you can go and double check this on YouTube and subscribe to my channel there. So long for now.